Okay, it's taken a little while and some messing around and using the ability here to move the maneuver node ahead in time. It's actually, that is really hard to read. 10 days or 16 days? 10 days, I believe, into the future. So, we'll go ahead and set an alarm for this. For rescue launch, we'll put this thing about 30 minutes ahead so that we have time. I'm thinking we're going to have a long burn here. And now I'm going to switch back to this ship and burn that time. Alright, here we are. Close the alarm. We're 29 minutes from the burn. Let's get lined up with that maneuver node. And I'm using the enhanced nav ball, which, by the way, among other things, puts a kind of a ghost image of the maneuver node in the direction that you have to rotate towards it. I rather appreciate that. And the features on the enhanced nav ball, I read in the forum post that apparently these are features that were supposed to be in the nav ball in 0.18, but for whatever reasons got pushed back. And so this is cool. A mod that actually makes KSP act like it should. Of course, in my opinion, there are several mods that do that, but that's neither here nor there. Slow down the rotation. Got lined up a little bit better than that. There we go. And let's time warp around to burn time. Let's make sure we have control from here, from the right part of the ship. Turn off time warp. Control from here. Okay, we're lined up correctly. Let's time warp down to our burn and send this thing on its way to Duna. We have no idea how long the burn is going to be, so I'm going to start the burn when looking this way, the ship's center line is above the horizon. Okay, right there. And we burn. And as I expected, this is going to be a long burn, so I'll see you in about 11.5 minutes. Alright, we're almost down to the end of the burn, and the ship has been fairly well behaved. I did notice a problem where one of the larger fuel tanks was draining faster than the others for some reason, and so I locked the fuel on the lander, the fuel and the RCS on the lander, and had the TAC fuel balancer keep the fuel load balanced. And with little adjustments, it's been fairly easy to keep it lined up on the maneuver node. And looking out here, I think it's time to cut the engines. And delete the maneuver node. Oh, come on. Alright, now let's have a look. Yeah, we have a close approach here. So I think what we need to do, let's see, our alignment, our plane alignment is pretty reasonable. I think the thing to do is to get out of Kerbal influence, get over here to solar periapsis, and adjust our course accordingly there. And so we'll just time warp out and do that. Get out here into solar orbit, past Kerbal's influence. And now we'll drop a maneuver node over here at periapsis. And fine-tune our course to one that actually takes us there. Okay, we've got a close approach, 122,000. That's 216, so that's the wrong direction. 74. There's an encounter. 29,000 kilometer periapsis, which can be fine-tuned. Let's see. Step this down to 1 meter per second increments. $22. $17. $19. Okay, that went up, so we'll flip it back here. Okay, 18. That's a good place to start from. We can fine-tune it as we get closer. Go ahead and schedule the burn. And let's give it a, well, let's see. 11 seconds. Okay, 1 minute will be plenty. All right, we'll go ahead and line her up. Get in position. And then time warp out to the burn. And I think this rescue mission is going to be a whole lot better. My idea for a mission profile is that the ship will first go to Ike, and it will scan for and then land on and mine Kethane. Refuel itself completely, and then it will lift off from there, reconnect with the lander, which is not going to land on Ike, and then it will head over to Duna, scan for Kethane deposits there, and then the lander will touch down as close to Bill as possible, while the Kethane miner will touch down on the Kethane deposit closest to Bill. Okay. Come on. There we go. Getting closer. And SAS to hold it, and time warp. And let's get this mission actually going where it needs to go. Okay, close the alarm, and we'll light it up at T-5. Okay, we're All set. Light them up. This should give us a good Duna encounter and put us that much closer to actually rescuing Bill. For real this time. He's been there for what, 2 years or so? Alright. Killer maneuver node. And what do we got? We have an encounter. Duna periapsis 18,000 kilometers. We're good to go. Okay. Next alarm. Sphere of influence change. And let's give it a 10-minute warning. Perhaps we can fine-tune our orbit as we approach Duna. In the meantime, SAS off. Time warp on. Okay, here we are, closing in. Almost time to start cutting some time warp down. Yeah, I know, the alarm clock will do that for me, but... Looks like we might have a equatorial inclination. That'll be good for getting lined up with Ike. All right. Stepping down the time warp, and the alarm will pop any second now. Yeah, this is kind of looking like some really good equatorial potential, so we'll just move ahead, get into Duna sphere of influence. Kill the time warp. Okay. Maneuver there. Let's see, how's our inclination? 82 degrees. Oh, that's not so equatorial at all. Let's move this maneuver much closer to the ship. Alright, we'll drop a new one here. See if we can change that alignment to better suit what we need. That doesn't seem to be looking too great. No, that's just getting worse. Okay, let's just kill this one. And we'll just do it the harder way, but one way that actually works. We'll just retrograde at periapsis. Get capture, and once captured from an orbit this high, we shouldn't have any problem doing a plane change to match up with Ike. And this one's going to be expensive enough as it is, another 12-minute burn. Oh boy, I'm thrilled. Alright, let's get lined up. Ah. That should take care of it. Time warp down to about 6 minutes and 15 seconds and light these suckers up. And once again, I can't spot where Duna is. Oh, there it is, right there. Alright. Time warping down. Almost there. And there's Duna. Get the rest of the way to 6 minutes and 15. And we'll burn this 12.5-minute burn. And yes, I know I could use the skipper engine to speed it up considerably, but that would be at a cost of a lot more fuel. And I'm willing to sit here and wait for it to do the long burn. And we go. And I'll see you in a little over 12 minutes. Alright, here we are at the last 30 seconds or so of the burn. Just about in position. And as always, the last bit of the burn is going to have the greatest amount of effect of change. We have our projected orbit beginning to curve around. Down to 60 meters per second to go. Maneuver node is starting to drift. We're not going to be chasing it. 16 seconds to go. We get capture, and that will be the end of this step. Then we'll target Ike and plan a plane change. $10 meters a second. Alright, stop right there. It was starting to go back up. And for this plane change, we actually want the orbit to be way high like this. Now let's see if I can target Ike. Alright. And we're 82.9 degrees out of plane, which we knew. Alright. We'll drop a maneuver here at the ascending node. I believe that's the direction we're going. Let's time warp a bit and find out for certain. Yes, that's the direction we're moving, so we'll take the ascending node being the closest one. this flipped around. We'll need some retro. Let's do it like this. And more retrograde thrust. Curve it back into an orbit. That brings it down to 2.1. 0.9. 0.4. 0.1. That'll be good right there. 122 meters a second to do that. Go ahead and schedule this thing. And it's 45-second burn, so 1 minute is fine. Get lined up and let's do her. Okay, we're in position. Time warp. And that's going to bring our periapsis down considerably, but we need that anyway. Close alarm. 45 seconds worth of burn, so we'll do this, but, well, we need to do it halfway, so about 24 seconds. Let's see here. Now we can play the Where's Duna game. There it is. There's Duna, and over here is Ike. Time warp just a bit. And burn. This will put us in plane with Ike so that we can plot a rendezvous and get this thing in orbit around Ike, scanning for Kethane. So as you can see, the fuel supply is majorly suffering after this long trip. And this thing's going to need a fair amount of fuel. Actually, I want to have it fully loaded when it goes to land on Duna, just to ensure that there is enough braking capability. Perhaps that's more than it needs, but I'd rather have more than I need than not enough. See how this is shaping around. Shrinking and tilting the way we need it to. Cut. Just a moment here. That had an Ike encounter there. Let's see. Thrusters on, reverse thrust. See if we can get that encounter back. It would mean an inclined Ike orbit, but we want one of those anyway. So let's see what we get. It's worth it to me to spend some monoprop to try to do this, as that can eliminate one step in getting to Ike by having a direct approach here. Closest approach distance is coming down. Doesn't seem to be showing there, but that's showing what's planned. And this is showing what's actual. Okay. Closest approach down to 3,000 kilometers almost. Alright. I think this is a good use of RCS fuel. Definitely. Certainly a whole lot easier than flipping the ship around retrograde to its current position. Okay, this closest approach gets down below 1,000 kilometers. I think we're going to see an encounter. And it's getting down there quickly. I should have been watching that to begin with. Note to self, I will do so in the future. And so far it's been like 51, 52 units of RCS. That's worth it. Thousand kilometers. There we go. Ike encounter, Ike periapsis 782. Let's bring that down if we can. Ike periapsis 500 almost. Alright, stop. It's going back up. So this unlikely looking course, interesting looking orbit. We swing around here, we hit Ike. If we miss, we go back interstellar, but we won't miss. Alright, cancel maneuver node. We're going right here the way we are. RCS and SAS off. Set an alarm for Ike SOI change and give us a 10-minute warning. Alright, let's do the time warp again.